Hello you guys, and welcome to Abundantly Minimal. My name is Sarah, and thank you so much for joining me today for part 2 of our census. Now, if you missed the first video, we were looking at the total number of items that we had in our living room area. So I will link that below as well as up here in the cards. If you haven't watched that, I do kind of explain sort of what the process is, the disclaimers and ground rules of it, and it makes a lot more sense when you take a look at that first video. So we're continuing with part 2. Now you guys are going to think I'm a little bit crazy because I'm actually starting this at almost 1 in the morning, and it's actually the night before we leave for our trip. So I maybe didn't budget my time as well as I'd hoped. I ideally would not be filming it at this time, but at the same time, I wanted to get another one of these out. I don't think we're gonna get to all 4 of them before we leave for our trip, and I've been doing a lot of batch filming, so who knows if you know about the trip when this comes out, but if you don't, we're on vacation. So anyway, with part 2 of the census, we're gonna be looking at things in the kitchen. We're going to look at things in the dining room, which is really not much of a dining room at all, and our pantry, which is storing a lot of our kitchen devices. Now, things to keep in mind here with going through the items. Number 1, it's currently just Jake and I, as well as we have a roommate. However, she doesn't really cook much, and she didn't bring any of her own kitchen devices in, so she just uses ours. And like our plates and all of that. In general, she uses the same materials, but we don't have kids, so you know, we don't have that to worry about. We don't have a big family, we don't have people over a ton. Personally, I am a huge fan of cooking, so for me, it's definitely something I have more of. I know I completed my plant-based chef certification back in 2015, and then I published my first cookbook in early May of this year. So definitely I feel like I have probably more than your average minimalist does in the kitchen, just because it is a big deal to me and something I really enjoy doing. So I am actually very curious to see how our numbers compare. Last year for our kitchen, we counted 381 items. Again, these are non-consumables, so things that are not used up in a more regular manner. So I'm not gonna be counting food, I'm not gonna be counting those types of products. But with the items, I'll be very curious to see how we've maybe changed. To be honest, I don't think there's gonna be a huge decrease in this space, but what I love about doing the census is it's a great chance to kind of re-inventory things. Now, my final disclaimer before we get started into the counting is probably just because this is a little more on the last minute side. Things aren't the cleanest they could be or the most organized. You might notice that I never post cleaning and organizational videos, and that's because those aren't my strengths. But, you know, it could be better. I understand that. But at the same time, you know, we're just gonna do the video, and the main thing I'm looking at here is the number of things we have. So organization can happen when we come back from the trip or something like that. So first I'm gonna give you guys a quick tour of the areas we'll be working with tonight. And lastly, just for reference, last year in the kitchen we counted 381 shared items, and then in the dining room we had 28 items. 21 of those were shared, and then there were 4 of mine and 3 of Jake's. So we're gonna be looking at those areas today. All right, so first we have the dining room area. We have these 4 chairs, as well as the table. It's a beautiful table, but we're messy, so we keep it covered up with the tablecloth. We also have a fruit bowl here. We do keep our reusable bags up there. And then if we pivot, that takes us to the kitchen, which is where you just saw a few little things here, kind of grab and go items. We do have, this is our recycling, trash, and worm bin area. This is a new piece we got this year for this apartment for extra counter space. Like I said, we're not super clean right now. Some of this stuff is specifically for tomorrow. We've got some water bottles here. This is what I'm drinking tonight. And then I'm gearing up a lot of food for the worm bin since we're gonna be gone for a while. I don't want our roommate to have to do too much with them. We're using a little bit of the on top of the fridge storage. Cabinet space is moderate. Definitely less than we had at our last apartment, but still manageable. We also have some cabinets down here. I just did dishes and I've got some stuff in the drying rack, but basic spice rack, microwave. The neti pot is not normally in here, but I just want to make sure I don't forget to do it tomorrow before we go. We have this pantry. So again, not super organized right now. So when we count up the chairs, the dining room table, tablecloth, and the bowl, that is 7 items there. And then with the reusable bags and different totes there are currently 7. However, we're bringing 1 on the trip that's packed, and also I have a purse that I usually hang up there. So that would bring our total there to 9. So 9 plus 7, we've got 16 things in our dining room. Or I said dining room. All right, so with the kitchen, I'm going to go each section at a time, starting with the fridge and working my way around since it's kind of circular almost. So we'll take care of that and then we'll move to the cabinet. So let's start with the fridge. So with the fridge, we do have 1 dish towel here. There's not really a whole lot going on. I've got things I need to use up on the top shelf here. Middle shelves are roommates, and then just a couple things. We've got our worm bin would be 1 item there. And I think we've just got our rice cooker insert and 1 Tupperware in there. In the freezer, we do have the top shelf here, so I've got 2 additional Tupperwares right here, and then 1 in the back, so 3 there. So far in the fridge, then we have 9 items. And then this utensil holder had 8 things, plus the holder itself is 9. Behind this, I can't really reach unless I got up on the step stool, but all we have are different manuals of different things because it's such an inconvenient place. I don't really put anything there. I guess that reminds me, since I can't reach it, we do keep our step ladder right over here. So I believe we're up to 19 then. And I don't think I got the dish towel in my number, so we're up to 20 then with the fridge area total. Over here, this is also mostly food. Again, we're not super organized right now. I've got some more regularly used spices and some baking things. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4 glass jars here. Otherwise, it looks like it's all mostly packaged food. So we got 4 jars plus the matcha whisk. We're up to 5. And then here on the counter, we do have my blender. The other blender part is drying. 7 with the microwave, 8 with the toaster. With this is toaster tongs, so that would be 9. And then with the spice rack here, we're going to count that as 1, just because it is one thing all together. So that would be 10. And then now this is going to be a time-consuming spot, so let's take care of that. All right, so this is everything that is in this cabinet. This is with our dishes. With the bottom shelf here, these dishes were actually, it was really nice. We actually got them. My grandparents were not using them. They had a couple sets, and so because they were just like sitting in box or even a storage unit, I don't remember exactly, and that was around the time that Jake and I got married, they actually gave us this set, which is awesome. There were originally 12 of everything, and now I think we're down to 7 or 8. I think we've got 7 of the small plates and bowls, and then I believe there are 8 plates. Yes, so 8 plates and then 14 of those smaller pieces. Also, we have 2 wooden bowls and a larger bowl out, and those we usually use for oatmeal. So with these, we usually use them all pretty often. I always find it so interesting how certain days it's like you go through all the big plates, but then other days you're going through all the glasses or like all the forks. It's so random. It's never like the same thing we're running out of. It's always different things, I guess, depending on what we're eating. This particular shelf, we have 25. Let's move up to the next one. So over on this side, we've got glasses. Interesting story with the glasses. My grandparents also had extra glasses that they weren't using. Now, I don't remember if this set's from them and the previous set, but there was one set that we had. These I think are really nice. I really enjoy these. So we didn't pick out any of these, but we had a set beforehand, and those were much more fragile, and we really just did not like. They weren't very easy to clean. They had a bunch of like textured ridges inside the glass where sometimes, like if we had a smoothie, like parts of the smoothie would get caught. So it really wasn't ideal, and they broke so easily. I mean, Jake and I are fairly clumsy. Anyway, we ended up, many of them had broken, but after a while we said, you know what, we've got this other one in reserve here, why not use it because it's our favorite ones. So we've got 6 of the large glasses, 6 of the small glasses, and we have 3 of these. These came in a set of, I think it was 4, but I think 1 broke. And those were a wedding gift someone gave us. Those glasses together, that is 15. And then over here on this side, Once again, the irony, we've got 25 things on that row too. So far 50 things in this cabinet. Now let's go to the top section here. Jake and I love ourselves glass jars, that's for sure. Or maybe it's just me, but we use them for everything, storing bulk things. We don't have as much right now bulk-wise just because we have been trying to clear stuff out before the trip. The pantry was still fairly full. So in this top shelf we have 17 glass jars, and then we have 3 bowls here, 2 mixing bowls, and I guess one's more of a serving bowl, but we use them pretty often. We had originally, I think it was a set of 4 mixing bowls, maybe a couple other ones, but you really don't need that many, or at least we didn't. So this top row then is 20. So total we've got 70 things in this cabinet. Now we're gonna take a look at these cabinets right here. In this one, we've got 2 oven mitts, and these are a bunch of twist ties that came with the garbage bags we have. I don't really like using the twist ties, but we have them. Those I'm going to classify as like consumable, so we've got 2 here. This, we don't really like using this too much, but we use it for basically cereal, protein powders, and oatmeal. These are some soy curls down here, but down here there's actually no like non-consumable items. This one's going to be fun, not really. In this one we have our silverware and those kind of things. So this one's going to take me a little bit longer to count up. We have 76 items in this particular drawer. Now one thing I was thinking about as I was counting through, one thing that I love about Jake and I guess this makes us not as classy people, but we never purchased like any sets of silverware. Like all of this was like from really random places, you know, some of it was garage sale, some of it might have been from family. I don't think we ever bought anything new, so like none of our stuff matches, but you know what, it works. It's just one of the things maybe I feel like kind of sums us up. Not always the most glamorous. I mean, we didn't do a wedding registry and all that stuff, and you know, it just works. So simple, but we do have 76 pieces in here. I guess we have parts of 3 different sets of measuring spoons, but the thing is, I feel like for certain recipes, you use like multiple because you got them dirty already. So I don't know, we probably could do better on that, but for now, at least total in here we've got 76. All right, now we're moving on to this bottom shelf. Now, this is probably the one where the organization is just a hot mess right now. It wasn't always this way, but then we've just kind of let it get worse. Just warning you, organization's not great, but this is where we store all of our like food storage containers. So let's take a look. This part of it, I really don't need to have these extra foods here. I think I was trying to have tunnel vision when I was working on the cookbook and kept these ingredients out because I wasn't going to use them. But I've just left them there, which is a problem. I do have another glass jar, and I also have this bowl. That's from Jake's mom. And then, so I've got 2 things there, and then these are both lids to water bottles. And then down here, this is where it's a little bit more jumbled at the moment. So we've got, oh gosh, I don't even know where to start. I'm gonna take this all out and fix this. All right, what a difference that made. I think this was how we originally had it organized, but then, you know, things just kind of fell out of place. But we've got all the lids on the top shelf here, as well as the liquid measuring cup, the other parts. And then down here below, we've got the actual containers. And I've grouped them by similar type, but not piles that are too high where it's inconvenient. We mostly have glass stuff, but then there's some plastic ones still. We've got 3 water bottles in the back. I guess in addition, I did move that jar. I'm also going to move this ramekin because that's not where it belongs. So 1, 2 with the jar up here, 3, 4 with the blue bowl back there. And then I'm going to count just the container parts, not their lids, too. So we're up to 4. With the water bottles there, that we're up to 7 then. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So we've got 27 in this section. Not the cutest, but it's consumable, so I'm not including any of this in my count. Here we have a dish brush. We have another jar, consumable items here. We do have a reusable soap dispenser. So we're up to 3. I need to clean this pot, so that will be that will be 4, and then there's a utensil out of there, so that's 5. Over here, drying rack. We do have kitchen towels. This one's looking a little gross. It just catches the extra water. That would be 6. Blender we already counted. This would be 7, and the dish rack itself would be 8. Up here is mostly consumables. This belongs to our roommate, and then we have a few things up here. We'll count the plastic tub here. We got to do that. So that stores a lot of our tea. That would be number 9 up there. That takes us over here. 10, 11, 12. With waters, these are for our trip that I talk about, I think, in our packing video. This is just worm food, so I know it looks gross, but we're just gonna ignore that. The water carafe here and lid would be 13, and then this usually holds like our tomatoes and other things, so that would be 14. The piece of furniture is 15. Then down on this shelf, we have like our pots and pans. This one would be 16, 17, 18. Cutting boards 19, colander 20. Other pan there, 21, and the copper pan, 22. And then down here on this bottom shelf is where I keep my food photography stuff. So there are going to be a lot of things here, and this was something that was not in the totals before because most of this was new. So with counting the items on that particular shelf, we have 29 things total. So now we have taken care of everything in the kitchen. All we have left is that little pantry cabinet, which shouldn't take too long. Let's go. All right, so starting here at the bottom, I've got these 2 baking pans plus the lids. This baking pan plus its lid over here. I'm gonna count those as 3 though. An extra bowl and 2 more wooden bowls, so we're up to 6. And then I've got this muffin tin as well as my donut pan underneath it. We also have this larger wooden bowl. So we've got 9 on this shelf. Moving up here then. Now that I'm looking at it, I can't really justify, I haven't used it in so long. I'm very happy about that. So now I've moved the cast iron pan down here. It gives a lot more space now, and it's much easier because all I have to do is grab it. So I've got that, I've got, let's see, we have 4 clean dish towels at the moment, but I think total we have 8. Some of them are in the dirty clothes because ideally you're washing them fairly regularly because they can harbor some nasty bacteria. 8 plus 1, 9. Then we've got 2 things there, mini cupcake pan and this one. So between the 2 shelves now we are at 20. 21 for the food processor. 22 for the slow cooker. This is the rice cooker, but I already counted it with the lining that's in the fridge right now, holding some quinoa. I am going to bring this over to the table to take a look at. Starting with the tub, we've got 1. This is the mandolin, and this is the part that goes with the mandolin, so there's 2. T-ball, 3. Little brush here, 4. 2 cookie cutters left, down from many more. This US one because I intend to make some pretty nerdy historical cookies. And then a little star here. I will say though, I've been bad and I haven't actually done it yet. 5 and 6. This is a piece with the food processor, piece with the blender. We have this strainer, we're at 7. 8 for the citrus juicer thing. 9 for the masher. 10 for the silicone baking mat. That's clearly been used a lot. And 11 for this little, it goes on top of lids and it forms like a nice suction on there. I don't remember if I said 11 or 12, but we'll round up and say I said 12 because I don't feel like recounting. There we go, we've got 12 things. We also have glass bowls for days. These are mise en place bowls from my chef school. I had to photograph all my ingredients in these. All right, so we have 19 of the glass bowls, 20 when we add in this sauce dispenser. And these are actually like silicone cupcake liners, and it means that you can reuse them rather than just using disposable ones. I still have some of those that I bring if I'm making cupcakes or muffins for a gathering, but when it's just for us around the house, I enjoy using these. So that means we're up to 26. And then on this top one here, thermos, 27. We've got our lunch bags, which we don't have to be bringing our lunches over the summer, so that's pretty nice. So it's 27, 28. This, we've got a couple just basic coasters. We got 2 of those, so that's 30. And then 31 with this like trivet. And then we don't really use the placemats often, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there are 7 placemats in there. So then in these top two shelves, we've got 38 things, not counting these, but when we add them all together, that's 50 things total. All right, guys, I have officially completed the kitchen and dining room portion of the census, and it's not even 2 a.m. yet, so winning. But I wanted to share some really good news. When I added up all of the numbers, both the dining room numbers and the kitchen numbers had decreased quite a bit. In the dining room last time we had 28 things, but now this time was down to 16 things. And then with the kitchen, we had 381 last time, and even though I wasn't sure if we had less, we did. We were down to 328, and that even includes the food photography items that I purchased. Now granted, I guess in my tiredness, I did not separate those as like my items, so we just have a shared total, but that's the same thing we had before with kitchen when we did it last time. So overall, I'm really excited with the progress, and thank you for sticking through these videos and following along. Like I mentioned at the very start of the video, it's going to be quite a delay before we do the remaining parts of the apartment, just given the nature of us running out of time before we go on our travels. But regardless, thank you so much for watching. If you want to check out the first video, if you missed that one, or any other videos, you can check them out over here, or feel free to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.